Part 162. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 1611. Chapter 1611 First Date. The new life in college is always full of vigor and vitality. Military training is scheduled half a month before the semester starts, and there is no class scheduled yet. However, when Zuyu bought breakfast, she still bought an extra one and sent it to Ye Qingfeng's dormitory downstairs. Perhaps it was because of God's pity that when Zuyu was standing downstairs and touching her mobile phone, she saw Ye Qingfeng walking out of the dormitory door, and the two met unexpectedly. Zuyu asked him about lunch in a subtle way. Ye Qingfeng understood it as soon as he heard it, and then nodded and let Zuyu choose his own place. Then, do you have any taboos? Don't use chopped green onion, don't make it too spicy, don't add vinegar, everything else is fine. Great, Zuyu jotted it down happily. On the morning of the first day of school, Zuyu spent almost all her time searching for nearby delicious food. She read the reviews one by one and finally selected a conservative option, spare rib soup. Looking at the reviews, they say that the pork rib soup in this store is very good. Not only is the soup fragrant, but the portion of pork ribs in the bowl is also very generous. You will never charge a high price for just a little bit of meat. After school was over, Zuyu quickly rushed out of the school gate and grabbed a seat in the store. She was a little nervous, thinking that this was the first time the two of them had a date alone for dinner. The number of people in the store gradually increased, and the night breeze came as promised. Here, Zuyu waved to him. Ye Qingfeng walked straight towards her. Many people around him were staring at him, some were honest, and some were holding menus to cover their faces, especially the girls. Zuyu is not jealous. She is even a little proud when she thinks that such an outstanding person becomes her boyfriend. I ordered the signature pork rib soup in this restaurant. Do you have any other side dishes you want to eat? Zuyu handed the menu to Ye Qingfeng. After a while, the pork rib soup was served, and the boss brought 2 bowls and plates with ingredients, one filled with chopped green onions and the other filled with peanuts. I remember that you didn't eat green onions, so you asked the boss to take the dishes alone. Ye Qingfeng doesn't eat, but Zuyu likes to add all the ingredients. Eating without speaking, Zuyu still didn't understand Ye Qingfeng's daily living habits, so she didn't have the nerve to talk to Ye Qingfeng. Zuyu saw a man and a woman at another table. The man picked up food for the girl, and the girl happily scooped soup for the boy. Although this interaction was ordinary, it seemed very sweet. Zuyu was also in love for the first time. She imitated the girl and wanted to pick up some food for Ye Qingfeng, but Ye Qingfeng declined politely. You're welcome, just eat well. Even if they eat at the same table, they use public chopsticks. Zuyu did not give up. She picked up the spoon and said, then let me ladle the soup for you. This soup is really delicious. No thanks. All right. The meal ended calmly, and Ye Qingfeng rushed to pay the bill. When it comes to money, Ye Qingfeng is absolutely impeccably generous, which leaves Zuyu speechless. On the way back to school, Zuyu kept looking for topics. No matter what the question was, Ye Qingfeng could answer it fluently. Fortunately, the two of them were top students and had a pleasant exchange in academic matters. Zuyu originally wanted to take a walk on the playground to increase the time they spent together, but Ye Qingfeng said she had something to do and sent her downstairs to the dormitory and left without nostalgia. Zuyu stood at the door of the dormitory, reluctant to stare at that figure. Hey, what are you looking at? Zuyu was unexpectedly tapped on the shoulder. When she turned around, she saw that it was her roommate. The roommate joked with a smile on his face, I just saw a boy walking you back to the dormitory. He has a good height and figure, and he should be good looking. Is he your boyfriend? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 1612. Chapter 1612 His weakness. Yes. Hearing the word boyfriend, Zuyu's depression disappeared. What is she thinking about? She is the only Ye Qingfeng's only girlfriend. Military training started in my freshman year, and the weather was still hot in September. They are from different departments. Ye Qingfeng's finance major was among the first to receive military training. Zuyu was worrying about how to get closer to Ye Qingfeng, so this was a good opportunity that came to her door. Zuyu would wait by the playground when she didn't have classes, and would give Ye Qingfeng water when she saw the opportunity to rest. By chance, I was passing by after class at night, and suddenly I remembered to visit my brother. When I was delivering water, I saw this scene. She saw Ye Qingfeng take the water bottle handed over by a girl, and the girl looked very familiar. Wasn't she Zuyu, the top student who was tied for the top with them in high school? Yasuhiro stopped and stood behind him for a while, looking at it as if he wanted to understand something. Wow, that girl in the white coat. Tisk tisk, what a good look and figure. Ye Qingfeng, who had excellent hearing, noticed something. He slightly poked his head and saw Yasuhiro standing not far away. Ye Qingfeng whispered something to Zuyu, and then walked towards Yasuhiro with long strides. A girl in Ye Qingfeng's class who was slightly familiar with Zuyu came over quietly. Hey, Zuyu, who is that girl? She came to see your boyfriend. Zuyu explained, that's Ye Qingfeng's sister. Biological. Well, it's my biological child. Let me just say, that girl is so pretty since she is my sister, why don't you go over and say hello? For it. Zuyu was speechless. She also wanted to go over and say hello. But Ye Qingfeng didn't ask her to come with him. How could she have the nerve to take the initiative to identify herself? Furthermore, since Yasuhiro has seen all this, he should know something. Zuyu guessed well. Yasuhiro already had the answer in her heart, but she was not sure yet. Brother, I was originally worried about your hard military training, but it seems I was overthinking it. Why are you here? Pointing to the unopened mineral water held in his left hand with his right hand, Yasuhiro explained, come here to see you. Mommy and Nuanuan asked me about you yesterday when they video chatted with me. Then they can ask me directly. They wanted to ask, but at that golden hour in the evening, there was always a call on someone's phone. I'm sorry, I didn't think well. That's okay. The family mainly wants to know how we are doing, so just ask. The worst one is Xiaoyuer. I heard that she secretly cried several times after you left. That little girl, Ye Qingfeng's expression changed when he mentioned Beiji Yu. Originally it was gentle, but now it is even gentler. Yasuhiro leaned closer and asked in a low voice, what's going on with Zuyu? We are together, Ye Qingfeng said bluntly. Yasuhiro nodded lightly and said oh, without saying anything else, but with a meaningful expression. What's that expression on your face? No, brother, you didn't tell us that you were single. You should tell your family about such a good thing. Don't tell them. Why? Not the right time yet. Okay, I can keep it a secret for you, but I will need hush money. Then go ahead and say it. Ye Qingfeng was not threatened. Yasuhiro nodded in a serious manner and started counting the wrench fingers. Okay, I'll figure out who to give the good news to, Daddy, Mommy, Nuan, and Godfather and Godmother Yuer. Godfather B should be very happy. As for Xiao Yuer. Ye Qingfeng's expression broke. I'll send you the card number and you know the password. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1613. Chapter 1613, Going to see you without hesitation. After getting along for a week, Zhu Yu discovered that Ye Qingfeng was extremely generous in spending money, probably because he was rich. However, Zhu Yu is not someone who depends on her boyfriend for a living. If Qingfeng pays the bill for dinner, she will also buy some other things and send them back. Seeing that it was a 2-day weekend, Zhu Yu began to search for the latest movies, planning to have a weekend date with her boyfriend to promote their relationship. She read several movie reviews before selecting 2 films and sent them to Ye Qingfeng to choose from, but Ye Qingfeng told her, there is military training on the weekend. Because the military training lasts for half a month, there will be no holidays between them. Zhu Yu sighed. The ringtone rang in the hand next to her, and Zhu Yu shouted to the people outside the balcony, "Shuang Shuang, your phone." Roommate Shuang Shuang was washing her hair on the balcony, which was inconvenient, so she just said, "Help me find out who it is." Zhu Yu leaned over and took a look at the note, and replied, "It's your boyfriend." The roommate Shuang Shuang quickly wiped her hands and came in to answer the phone. All she heard in reply was something like, "I'll be down soon." The roommate teased, "Oh, Shuang Shuang, your boyfriend is here to see you again." "Yes, my friend recommended a good restaurant and wanted to take me to eat." "Wow, I'm so envious." "Yeah, I'm so envious." Zhu Yu held the phone and was envious from the bottom of her heart. Others' boyfriends would serve meals warmly and take the initiative to wait for their girlfriends downstairs in the dormitory, but her boyfriend never did. Well, the key point is that even if she takes the initiative, it is difficult to invite people out. Shuang Shuang chatted with them while wiping her hair, "Don't be jealous, I told my boyfriend that I will treat you to dinner soon." "Oh my god, such a sensible boyfriend makes me feel sour." Another roommate chimed in, "It's lemon." Only Zhu Yu remained silent when someone mentioned her. "Zhu Yu, last time I only saw the back of your boyfriend. When are you going to bring your boyfriend out for everyone to see?" Zhu Yu explained, "They have been busy with military training recently and have no time." Shuang Shuang suggested, "It's just military training during the day. We can all have dinner together or something." "Yeah, I'm not asking your boyfriend to treat you, we're just curious. I heard you are high school students." "Ha, let me ask him." "Okay, I'm waiting for your good news." After what her roommate said, Zhu Yu also wanted to treat her boyfriend with her. Mainly because doing so felt like declaring sovereignty, which made her feel like this was a great idea. But her request to watch a movie was rejected just now, and then she asked for a meal, which made her feel a little embarrassed. Thinking that Ye Qingfeng was very tired from the recent military training, she postponed the matter for 2 full weeks. Their university has been in session for half a month, and Ye Qingfeng has not had a holiday due to military training. Finally, when the military training was over and he could rest for 2 days, Zhu Yu had already prepared some words and sent a few messages to Ye Qingfeng, but no one responded. What happened? She waited for about half an hour before calling Ye Qingfeng and heard the man's tired voice. "Hello. Qingfeng, are you sleeping?" "Well, I was just sleeping in the car for a while." "In the car? Didn't you just finish the military training?" "Yeah, I'm almost home." Zhu Yu listened carefully and seemed to hear the sound of the car door opening and closing. Just as she was about to speak, she heard a louder voice on the other end of the phone. "Brother Feng, you are finally back." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1614. Chapter 1614. People who don't like you are always busy. Zhu Yu felt a chill in her heart, and her fingers holding the phone couldn't help but strain. It turns out that he is not afraid of fatigue. "Sorry, I'm busy here, I'll get back to you later." "Okay." End the conversation in a hurry. She couldn't help but think, what would Ye Qingfeng reply to her? Going home is a matter of course, what should she say? After thinking about it, I am indeed no more important than Ye Qingfeng's parents. At least Ye Qingfeng is going to see his relatives, so there doesn't seem to be any big mistake, right? If you like someone, even if the other person does something that is not what you want, you will rack your brains to make excuses for the other person. Zuyu looked at the empty dormitory, touched her growling stomach, and sighed. This feeling is a bit bad. Roommate Shuang was on a date with her boyfriend. The other two went out to eat together, and she was the only one in the dormitory. Finally, she left the dormitory alone. Coincidentally, she met Yezhiruo while walking through the playground. She was a little overwhelmed by the sudden encounter, but her footsteps had stopped moving. Yezhiruo smiled at her and said, "Hey, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. Are you going out of school?" "Well, I plan to go out for a meal." "Ah, in this case, I also need to eat, why don't we come together?" "Sure." Just like that, the two of them went to a restaurant outside the school together. Zuyu originally thought that a pampered young lady like Yezhiruo might be a little uncomfortable with these small restaurants, but that was not the case. While waiting, Yezhiruo was the first to speak. "Actually, we have met many times, but we have never found the right time to talk properly. I didn't expect it to be under such circumstances." Zuyu replied, "Actually, I should treat you to a meal earlier." Yezhiruo shook his head lightly, "That doesn't matter. By the way, you know your brother went home today, right?" "Ah, I know. He told me 2 days ago, but it's a pity that I have to go to class and can't be with him." So that's it. The previous question was just a test, and only then did Zuyu realize that Ye Qingfeng's decision to go home was not a sudden decision. She was a little angry. As a girlfriend, she didn't know anything about her boyfriend's situation. "Actually, I admire you quite a lot. I originally thought that my brother would remain single. After all, I've never heard him say he has a crush on anyone." Yezhiruo's tone was a bit teasing. Hearing what she said, Zuyu suddenly felt a little flattered. "I also find it a bit unbelievable," she replied. Yezhiruo asked curiously, "Has anything special happened between you?" "I'm a little curious." "There seems to be nothing special." "All right." It felt a bit awkward to chat, but fortunately the boss arrived in time and the dishes served on the table were fragrant. "Try this, it's delicious." Slowly, Zuyu relaxed her mind and talked to Yezhiruo about the food around the school. "Ah, by the way, I forgot to ask you just now, can you eat onions? They might be in the bowl of soup we just ordered." "I can, why do you ask?" "That's good, because Ye Qingfeng said before that he doesn't eat onions. You are brother and sister, so I thought you didn't eat onions either." It's okay. Our family can all eat it. The ones who don't eat it are Xiaoyuer and Beijiu. You should have seen it before." "Have seen?" "It's because Xiaoyuer doesn't eat onions, and everyone in the family is very accommodating to her habit, so my brother must have been influenced by it, but it's okay to eat it." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1615. Chapter 1615. The perfect boyfriend is fake. Zuyu's love affair is not going well. The movie she wanted to watch was off the shelves, and she didn't even get a date to spend the night with Qingfeng. I wanted to call the dormitory to have dinner together, but I didn't say it yet. 1 month since school started, the two of them had very few opportunities to get along. Finally, at the urging of her roommate, Zuyu mentioned the treat to Ye Qingfeng. "A treat? My roommate is just a heckler, so..." "Yes, you can choose the location." Ye Qingfeng answered quickly. "You choose the location and order whatever you want from the menu." Once this idea was expressed to the roommates, their reactions were all, "Wow, your boyfriend is so nice, so generous. It seems that Yui's boyfriend really likes you." Looking for happiness in the words of her roommate, Zuyu did not want to refute it. The roommates were all pretty good. Even though Ye Qingfeng asked them to choose any place, they chose a hotel with reasonable price. The house where my roommate Shuang and her boyfriend went last time. By coincidence, this store is holding a small event in the past 3 days. As long as a man and a woman take a couple photo in front of their hotel, they can get a 10% discount. Our roommate expressed that he was looking forward to this activity. After all, sometimes watching friends fall in love is more interesting than falling in love yourself. Saturday. Since noon, Zuyu has been preparing for the dinner appointment in the evening. Help me choose quickly, what should I wear today? Shuang suggested, just wear a skirt. Boys generally like to see their girlfriends wearing skirts. Zuyu turned around and asked, does this have any scientific basis? Shuang spread her hands and smiled, my boyfriend said it. Another roommate added a few words, I also think the skirt is good. Didn't you buy a beige skirt last time? Pair it with a beige jacket. It looks good and doesn't get cold. In the end, Zuyu chose a beige skirt and paired it with a fragrant beige short jacket, which made her a bit playful. Zuyu usually wears no makeup or light makeup. Shuang took out a full set of cosmetics and gave her an exquisite date makeup. Her roommates applauded when they saw it. He regarded her as the boss who was treating her today and said a few nice words, it's very beautiful. I guarantee your boyfriend will be impressed. Wish the moon full of expectations. Ye Qingfeng is indeed a very capable boyfriend, not only generous, but also considerate. It was the first time I got to know Ye Qingfeng up close, and all my roommates were impressed by his appearance and temperament. He kept tugging on Zuyu's sleeves and quietly praised in her ear, your boyfriend is so handsome, too. Zuyu was elated after hearing this. Hey, this store is having an event recently. If you take a couple photo there, you can get a 10% discount coupon. Why don't you two take a photo together? Yes, you can save money easily. With the encouragement of her roommate, Zuyu looked at Ye Qingfeng expectantly, waiting for him to nod. Sorry, I personally don't like taking pictures. Ye Qingfeng refused with a smile. But this is really simple, just stand at the designated place and take pictures. You and you are both so good looking, so they must be very photogenic. Zuyu tugged on his arm and said, how about taking a photo? It won't take long and there's a 10% discount. Ye Qingfeng still shook his head, it doesn't matter. He then said to everyone, you don't have to worry about the cost of the food. Today's consumption will be borne by me personally. Please feel free to enjoy it. His attitude is so good that no one can say anything to blame him. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1616. Chapter 1616. He rushed into the rain. This time for a treat, the roommates all spoke highly of Zuyu's boyfriend. Only Shuang took Zuyu to chat for a few words in private. I feel like you and your boyfriend are a little too polite. Ah, that's what he is like. Zuyu wisely avoided the topic. She knew that Ye Qingfeng was used to handling everything perfectly, but the only flaw was his feelings. She is trying to be a good enough girlfriend, but her relationship with Ye Qingfeng has stalled. One day Shuang quietly asked her a shy question, do you and your boyfriend have this? Shuang pointed at her lips. Zuyu immediately understood and then shook his head. As Shuang felt incredible. Haven't you been dating for a long time? You haven't even kissed. Zuyu put her head aside uncomfortably, oh, don't say this. Don't be shy, kiss is a good way to enhance feelings, why don't you give it a try? Oops. Try it, I tell you, at the beginning. The two of them whispered, and Shuang told her some sweet things about her relationship with her boyfriend. She probably said that her boyfriend had a little personality. She took the initiative in many things, but now her boyfriend loves her very much. Zuyu felt very sweet after hearing Shuang's experience. She learned to put on makeup with the help of Shuang and started to wear perfume. At first, she only dared to spray a little fresh perfume, and she wouldn't notice it unless she got close to smell it. However, Zuyu was very satisfied with her current state. She dressed up exquisitely to go on a date with Ye Qingfeng, but the weather was not kind and it started to rain not long after the two of them left school. The restaurant they had made an appointment with was not far ahead, but the car couldn't drive in, so they had to walk there. And that road just didn't cross the shelter from the rain. I didn't see any place selling umbrellas. According to the small merchants around, there seems to be one a little further across the road. Zuyu looked up at Ye Qingfeng. Why don't we go directly to the restaurant and just run there as fast as possible? Ye Qingfeng said firmly, you wait here. Let Zuyu stand under the eaves first, and then he rushed into the rain. Zuyu's heart trembled suddenly, and her eyes were filled with that slender and tall figure. The heavy rain blurred his vision, but it didn't take long for him to buy an umbrella and come back. Zuyu saw him running towards her regardless of the wind and rain. At that moment, the sound of the heavy rain disappeared from her ears, and there was only that unique figure in front of her. The moment the night breeze handed him the umbrella, Zuyu suddenly ran forward and hugged him tightly. No words came out of her mouth, she choked slightly and felt like crying. Always thought it was a one-sided contribution, but it turned out that Ye Qingfeng would also protect her. Bless the moon. However, Ye Qingfeng quickly pushed her away and kept distance from her. If you touch me, your clothes will get wet. Hearing this explanation, Zuyu shook her head indifferently. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Ye Qingfeng opened the umbrella and showed her the way. Zuyu insisted on finding a store first for him to change clothes. Before Ye Qingfeng could answer, he suddenly felt his phone vibrate. He saw that it was a call from Yezhiruo. Brother, let me remind you, Xiao Yuer is in our apartment. What's the meaning? Godmother and Ran happened to be here on a business trip and brought Xiao Yuer here. She said she wanted to give you a surprise, so she didn't tell you in advance. I saw it was raining now and wanted her to be alone. The apartment will be scared, so I called you. I have something to do here and I can't leave. Yezhiruo also told him to go back and take a look early, and then hung up the phone in a hurry. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1617. Chapter 1617. It turns out that he can also be gentle. Yezhiruo also told him to go back and take a look early, and then hung up the phone in a hurry. Ye Qingfeng's brows were filled with worry. The obvious change in expression made Zuyu a little confused. What happened? Sorry, I can't fulfill my promise today. I have to go home. Go home, it's raining so heavily now, are you? No, I'm going back to the apartment. Speaking of which, the apartment is nearby. Ye Qingfeng didn't want to delay for a moment. At Zuyu's request, the two went to the apartment together. It was stormy outside, and the night breeze rushed into the apartment, and finally found the little girl sleeping soundly on the sofa. He was obviously relieved, as if a big stone hanging in his heart had finally fallen. Ye Qingfeng squatted on one knee next to Beijiu, reluctant to disturb her. All his movements were so cautious, completely forgetting that there was a person following behind him. Zuyu has a panoramic view of all these performances. How much care does it take for Ye Qingfeng to be so caring? After a while, Zuyu tried to speak out, that. Ye Qingfeng stood up and led her to the other side. Sorry, please wait here for a while. I will contact the restaurant and have someone deliver the food you ordered earlier. Ye Qingfeng was indeed very considerate. Zuyu waved her hand and refused. No need to go to so much trouble. We are all at home anyway, so why not just make something to eat? What do you think, and what does your little sister like? I can make some, so why don't you just let me do it, you guys eat it? No, there are no ingredients stored at home. I'll have them delivered. Ye Qingfeng's decision did not change, and Zhu Yu finally compromised. Looking at his wet hair, Zhu Yu remembered that she spoke to remind him to change clothes. Why don't you take a shower and change into dry clothes first, or you will catch a cold? Okay, please help me take a look. Okay. Zhu Yu understood what he meant and hoped that she would take care of Beiji Yu temporarily. I originally thought that Ye Qingfeng was going to take a shower and change clothes, but I didn't expect that he would come out of the room soon. His hair was still wet, but his clothes were dry. Zhu Yu asked in confusion, so fast? Ye Qingfeng explained, I just changed my clothes. Aren't you misophobic? It's okay. I guess Yu will wake up soon. She will be scared when she wakes up alone in a strange environment. Zhu Yu suddenly fell silent. Beiji Yu sat up from the sofa and stretched out in a daze. Feeling that the room was much darker, she rubbed her eyes and saw the figure in front of her. Ye Qingfeng has already walked towards her. Beiji Yu suddenly woke up, Brother Feng, you are back. She stood up and ran towards Ye Qingfeng, when she caught sight of a figure flashing past her out of the corner of her eye and stopped her in her tracks. Beiji Yu turned around and recognized the man's appearance, and her expression changed immediately. Why are you here? Because I am your brother's girlfriend. Zhu Yu walked towards Beiji Yu with a kind smile on her face. Beiji Yu stood firmly on the spot, refusing to believe Zhu Yu's words, looking up at Ye Qingfeng hoping that he could refute. But, not. Beiji Yu is not happy, but her performance is much better than before. There was no noise, just that little mouth pouting. The delivery boy knocks on the door and delivers the long-awaited delicacy to Zhu Yu. Ye Qingfeng broke the deadlock and asked everyone to eat first. The food is very fragrant. When I took a bite, I felt that it had a strong salty taste. Beiji Yu's stomach growled, so she took a piece of the grilled fish at the front and vomited it out when she tasted a bit of chopped green onion. There are onions. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1618. Chapter 1618. She doesn't eat onions. There are onions. Ye Qingfeng opened the fish and saw that it was stuffed with chopped green onion. To ordinary people, this condiment just adds fragrance, but for Beiji Yu, who has been rejecting this taste since childhood, it is a forbidden food. Didn't I say you can't add onions to food? Ye Qingfeng's eyes were full of questions. Zhu Yu quickly apologized, sorry, I didn't know you wanted to eat, so I didn't notice. She had learned from Yezhiruo that Ye Qingfeng could actually eat chopped green onions, so she didn't leave a special note when ordering their food. Unexpectedly, Beiji Yu took the first bite. Beiji Yu took a bite, spit it out, drank a glass of water, and brushed her teeth. All this seems to Zhu Yu to be quite hypocritical, that a little girl can be so troublesome. Roommate Shuang sent a QQ message asking her how she was going, and Zhu Yu replied with a helpless expression. Everything was going smoothly, but Chen Yejin showed up halfway. Every time she meets Beiji Yu, she and Ye Qingfeng will definitely make no progress. Although she is the head of the family, this little girl controlled by her brother is more difficult to deal with than anyone else. Zhu Yu is even sure that Beiji Yu hates her. But Ye Qingfeng is very interested in Beiji Yu, so what can she do? But the key point is that Ye Qingfeng follows her in everything, right down to Beiji Yu's habit of eating every meal. Beiji Yu can't eat well, and Ye Qingfeng can't eat well either. Zhu Yu has been tempted by food for a long time, but she has to endure it deliberately. Ye Qingfeng seemed to see through her micro-expression and advised her to eat in peace. Zhu Yu half-heartedly started to enjoy the food alone. At the same time, she also noticed Ye Qingfeng bringing Beiji Yu into the kitchen. Zhu Yu quickly ate a bowl, ran to the kitchen to take a look, and heard the conversation between Ye Qingfeng and Bei Jiyu. "Brother Feng, have you cooked the 8 treasure porridge? You is so hungry. If you're hungry, go to the table and eat something, some of it doesn't have onions." "Don't eat," Bei Jiyu was unwavering. "There's really nothing we can do about you. There are indeed no ingredients at home, but Yezhiruo likes to store some things that are easy to preserve, such as wolfberry, longan and other things at home. There are even several types of rice, so it is convenient to cook some porridge when you are hungry. This is where it comes in handy." Bei Jiyu didn't eat much, and rice porridge was enough to fill her stomach. "The porridge cooked by Brother Feng is better than that of Sister Ruo." You didn't seem to have said that last time." "No, I'm very determined." Bei Jiyu opened her eyes guiltily. "She has a lot of clever tricks, and she praises everyone she meets. Although she is famous for her weird temper in this family, she still has a kind of magical power. As long as she is willing to coax people, she can coax them better than anyone else." Zuyu listened outside for a while, then silently returned to the dining table, turning her grief and anger into appetite. Bei Jiyu and Zuyu seemed to be unable to coexist peacefully. Bei Jiyu can play rogue in front of Ye Qingfeng and hold him back, but Zuyu cannot compete with children for favor. After Yuan Ran called to ask about the situation, she safely entrusted her daughter to Ye Qingfeng to take care of her. It was raining non-stop outside, and it was impossible for Zuyu to go back to school alone. "Brother Feng, is she staying here tonight?" Bei Jiyu whispered in Ye Qingfeng's ear. Ye Qingfeng answered ambiguously, "Okay, children, don't think too much." At 9 o'clock in the evening, Ye Qingfeng urged Bei Jiyu to sleep. What Zuyu saw was that Bei Jiyu went to Ye Qingfeng's room. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1619. Chapter 1619, Two Kisses Caught Off Guard. A long time ago, in a distant kingdom, there lived a beautiful sleeping princess. Then what? Gone. Bei Jiuyang told her a bedtime story in the night breeze, but she didn't expect that today's story would be so short. As soon as he lay down, he stood up again. So short? It's not a bedtime story. Ye Qingfeng pushed the person into the quilt and said, "This story tells us that you cannot become a princess without enough sleep." Now Ye Qingfeng turned off the lights directly, and in the quiet night there was only his warm voice, which was obviously doting. "So, my little princess, can you sleep now? The rain has stopped and the night is quieter." Ye Qingfeng finished coaxing the little girl and offered to take Zuyu back to school. It is said to be sending someone off, but actually it is to call a car in person and then put the person in the car in person, write down the license plate number, and remind her to pay attention. All of this, any man who is a gentleman enough can do it. I know. Well, I've sent a message. Zuyu stepped into the car and paused for a moment. She retracted her feet, turned around suddenly, stepped on her feet and kissed her when Ye Qingfeng wasn't paying attention. No matter how quickly Ye Qingfeng reacted, he could only avoid his lips, and the unexpected kiss brushed his cheek. Without saying a word, Zuyu got into the car, closed the door, and asked the driver to drive quickly. On the way back to school, she kept feeling hot on her cheeks, her heart was pounding, and she didn't even dare to read the messages on her phone. This is probably the boldest thing she has done since the two fell in love. However, it was precisely because of her shyness that she didn't notice the coldness in Ye Qingfeng's eyes after being calculated and how strong the sense of rejection was. Zuyu later sent a message to report that he was safe, but he did not reply. He seemed to have just remembered that he was misophobic and took a shower from head to toe. He wiped the touched cheek over and over again with facial cleanser in front of the sink, even leaving a red mark. Back in the room, his small movements woke up Beiju, who was sleeping lightly. Beiju opened the quilt and sat up, her consciousness still relatively clear. Did I disturb you? Maybe I slept too long this afternoon and couldn't fall asleep. Beiju pressed the light switch next to the bed, and the entire bedroom became brighter. She suddenly noticed the redness on Yeking Feng's left cheek, and was extremely worried. Brother Feng, has your face been bitten by a mosquito? No, I accidentally rubbed it. How could this happen? Beiju stood on the bed, enough to touch Yeking Feng's face. The left cheek is red, especially where the tip of the nose is parallel to the past. Beiju felt distressed when she saw it. Does it hurt? The little girl's voice still had a hint of childishness. Ye Qingfeng did not hide his true feelings from her, lowered his head slightly, and the hair on his forehead cast a clear shadow across the corners of his eyes. Beiju raised her hand to hold his cheek, and blew gently on his left cheek twice. It won't hurt any more if you blow it. Although it is a very childish act, it makes people feel warm. Another unexpected kiss, this time it landed accurately on the left cheek without any avoidance. Because he didn't even have the consciousness to guard against her. The little girl's soft words were irresistible. Brother Feng, please stop scratching me, it will get better gradually. He reached out subconsciously. Beiju quickly caught him with quick eyes and hands, and held him firmly. Afraid that he would not listen to the advice, I stared at him with a serious face and specifically told him, you must not scratch me again. Good. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1620. Chapter 1620. Can your time belong to me? Zuyu thought that the kiss like a dragonfly was the spice of emotion, and even the dreams she had this night were wonderful. The next day I got up early and sent Ye Qingfeng a good morning message, along with a cute emoticon. She saw that Ye Qingfeng's device showed that Wi-Fi was online, and guessed that he must have woken up, but there was no reply. Ye Qingfeng is indeed awake, but he is making breakfast in the kitchen at the moment. He specially prepared it for Beiju. There is no need for an exquisite breakfast, but at least Beiju will not be allowed to come here to eat takeaway. The little girl stayed in bed on the weekends, and when she slept until 9 o'clock, she still forcefully pulled her up, taking care of and admonishing her carefully, just like an old mother. No, it's not that verbose. He just took good care of Beiju. Beiju took Ye Qingfeng's mobile phone to check the time and saw unread messages popping up, but she couldn't see the content. She raised her phone to alert, someone has sent you a message. Leave it alone for now, stop looking at your phone and come over to eat. For Ye Qingfeng, information is generally not important. After all, if someone comes to see him in an emergency, he will definitely call. So it doesn't matter if you look at the information later. Yuan Ran was very concerned about her daughter's condition and called her at about 10 o'clock to ask, Qingfeng, I really want to trouble you. Yuan insists on staying with you. If you have anything, please call me, I'll pick her up at any time. Ye Qingfeng agreed with each of these words without making any rebuttal, which made Yuan Ran feel relieved. In fact, when Beiju comes, even if he has other things to do, he will move back instead of pushing Beiju outward. Brother Feng, can I stay with you for 2 days? Can. Then can I apply for your 2 days of leave? Can. Then can 2 days of your weekend belong to me? Sure. Yeah, Beiju raised the spoon, her expressions and movements showing her good mood at the moment. The corner of his mouth naturally rose. Ye Qingfeng then clicked on the message interface and saw that the number of messages in the column with the note "Wish the moon" was already 9+. It was Zuyu who told him everything in detail, from when she got up to what she had eaten for breakfast and what she had told him to eat. If you are in love, this is a way of expressing love, but if one party is not used to it, there will be a grudge in your heart. he replied politely and turned off his phone. It was raining outside again, and Beijiyu wanted to go out, saying that she wanted to see their school and go and play with Yeshiruo. Because the height difference between the two was too big, an umbrella would make Beijiyu wet in the rain. After Ye Qingfeng took her out, he bought a coat and a smaller umbrella. Mommy said she would work here for 2 days, so I came with her. Daddy also wanted to come, but he couldn't leave, ha ha ha. Beijiyu chatted to him about daily life intermittently, and Ye Qingfeng listened attentively. But he did not forget to pay attention to her at all times. Be careful. She almost stepped into a puddle, but Ye Qingfeng quickly pulled her away. The umbrella slipped from Beijiyu's hand. When it fell, it was carried by the wind to the road. A large truck ran over her and the umbrella cloth was covered with mud and water. When I picked up the umbrella, I found that one of its ribs was broken. The sudden change is truly speechless. Beijiyu opened her eyes innocently, I really didn't mean it. It doesn't matter. Ye Qingfeng kept her by his side in a good-tempered manner. When he saw the raindrops wet her arms, he directly held her up with one hand. Anyway, we're already at the school gate. End of this chapter.